No, but because we keep coming back no matter what. So today's topic is life. How to get through the struggles of life. So, magic question. When you're going through stuff, when you're facing adversity, how do you get through your stuff?
First, I pray.
Okay.
I have a great open communication with my God.
Okay.
So, thankfully, I've been blessed with the perception to know when I'm about to go through this.
Okay.
And so, when I get in it, I start praying.
Okay.
That helps me. That grounds me to give me the wisdom and the sight to see what I need to do to get out of it.
How do you know when you're about to go through something? Well, let me ask you a question. How do you know when you're about to hit a storm, when you're in the middle of a storm, and when you're coming out of a storm?
It's energy for me.
Okay.
It's almost like you use storm.
Okay.
You know how the lightning and the thunder comes before the actual storm comes.
Mm-hmm.
So I have lightning and thunder happening in my life.
Okay.
Like,
Explain that to the people.
Okay, so for instance, I'll use maybe about a year ago. I was in a situation financially.
Okay.
But I had lightning and thunder to kind of warn me. You know what? You're about to be in a situation that you're not going to be able to get out of.
Right.
And the funny part is, I always use Kenya, but y'all understand Kenya is a big part of my life.
I love her.
And I prayed and read my Bible and talked to God, and He worked it out one way.
Mm-hmm.
So once I had a resolution, then I talked to Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh no, that wasn't me working it out.
Right.
And God was like, this is what you could have done.
Right.
Talk to Kenya.
Right.
The storm would have ended sooner.
Yeah. Oh, was that the conversation when I basically said, hey,
Don't you do that again.
if you going through hell, I need you to let me know.
Right.
You gotta suffer in silence,
Yeah.
please. That was that conversation. I remember that conversation. Because you suffered in silence.
I was suffering in silence.
And why, this is probably not the first time you've ever suffered in silence.
Oh, no.
Why have you suffered in silence for so long?
Oh my goodness, we're about to get real.
Yeah.
I don't use the word independent.
Okay.
But I have always had to take care of me.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Being homeless, living in the car, I always had to find my own way out. And true enough, I mean, you have family, don't get me wrong, you have family. But people just don't do what they say they're going to do. Or they see you in a light where she always survives, she'll be okay. Don't check on you. Or if you need, you need at the wrong time. You are one of the first people that has actually been that person to say, why would you suffer in silence? I'm here for you.
Right.
And mean it, not for just to be a platitude. So
Right.
I've always done that. I've always been the one that fights my own battles. And with just me in my corner. There's nobody in the corner but me. So it's always been that.
So you've always had to depend on you. How do you get past that to go from being independent as such to now maybe being in a place of being in a spot where you're like, okay, I do need some help. I could use, this, that, and the other. I could get some help on this. How do you go from Miss Independent to actually reaching out and saying, hey, I might need a little help in this area?
It's difficult. It's difficult because you deal with so many emotions of you don't want to be rejected.
Okay.
You don't want to be seen as weak.
Okay.
And you don't ever want to be in a place where if Lucretia tells me no, then that's my fall. That's it. That's my destruction.
Mm-hmm.
So you always with me, I always want to be, how do I get myself out?
Right.
So it's hard. It's hard to change your frame of mind where you have people, and sometimes it's not physical stuff that you need from people. Sometimes it's just, hey, I'm standing in this gap with you.
Right. Sometimes you just need that support.
Right.
You know what? It has, because I used to be like that too. one of the things that helped me get past being that strong, I'm suffering by myself person, is exchanging something for something. So I'm the type of person where I really don't need a lot, but I might just need like a little good word every now and again. So I'll pretty much do and mirror and pretty much project what I want somebody else to do for me. So if I want a high five, I'll give a high five. If I want a compliment, I give a compliment. So it's kind of like an exchange. So I'm really not putting myself out there and be like, give me a compliment. Tell me this, tell me this, tell me this. Make me feel a certain way. But what I do is take it upon myself to give out what I want to receive. Versus being like, tell me how important I am, how good I love. So I'll just go ahead and do, and then it always works. So it's always, it always comes back to me. So that helps out immensely versus asking for something that you should be getting anyway. You know what I mean? So that will help you out immensely. Now, next question. Now we stand on that. Does it ever get better because you've had the same mentality for years? Does it ever get better, or is it just a work in progress?
I think it gets better. It only gets better if you're aware of where you are. I think people, general statement.
Okay.
I think people typically walk around in this world without ever stopping looking in the mirror.
I agree.
And so, whatever's happening, whatever mess they're in, is all of this stuff outside.
Mm-hmm.
And they never stop and say, whoa, let me look in this mirror, check me. So when you start to do that, you start to evaluate what's going on with you. Like, hey, you need to ask for help. Or, hey, you need to show people love so that you're getting love back.
Right.
If you feel like you don't have any love in your life.
Right.
I met this lady and she said that she loves on purpose.
That's beautiful.
Because she wants love back.
Yeah.
And so when you think about that, like, oh, you have to be responsible.
It's a reciprocity.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it gets better.
And what age did it hit you that I need to change, or maybe I've been running in circles for X amount of years and maybe I need to stop?
It's probably about 35.
35. So you've been pretty much living the same way for 35 years.
About 35. And I say that didn't start until my mother passed. So from the age of...
Was your mother that way too?
No, my mother was one of those people, she loved everybody. Like, non-judgmental. Everybody, like, took my mom. I was like, can I have my mama back? She was not like that. But when she passed, it was like that light was gone. So, I kind of closed off.
Did it get darker?
It got darker. Because she was that person that if I needed anything,
she was your rock.
she was my rock. My friend, my rock, my mother. Like, I could tell her anything. And she was there to give whatever she had to give.
So basically you became your mother.
Right.
For yourself.
For myself.
For yourself. So the only person you could lean on was
me.
You. You became your rock, you became your mother.
From 23 to about 35.
And how hard was that?
Tough. Because I ended up cutting people out. Like, I don't want you to get too close.
Really?
If you need something from me, I can give it to you, but my expectation is that you don't give me anything in return.
Really?
Just
Why
keep
not?
moving.
Why not?
I think not wanting to create attachments.
Really?
Not wanting to be close to people. Realizing that people die and leave. It's a lot.
Was that big for you?
That's big. People
So-
die and leave.
So yeah, that's part of life though.
It is.
Okay, but what the way you would set, the way you had things set up was, in essence, I don't get close to people because I want to leave. That's what you were saying. So basically, you stiffed on everybody who came to your path because you literally didn't want people to die on you. So you came up with all kinds of excuses.
Okay.
Like what?
I'll use men for example.
Yeah. Use dudes.
Let's use dudes.
Let's use dudes for an example.
You You're gonna cheat anyway.
You're going to cheat. You had already projected
Right.
that this dude was gonna cheat.
He's gonna cheat. He's a liar. He's not gonna be committed.
So you sabotaged your relationships because,
or just didn't allow them to happen.
okay, because again, why? You afraid they were going to leave you and die. Did you ever resolve that?
I am resolving it now.
Really?
I am, because when you close yourself off, like I'm a giver naturally, but I wasn't a receiver. So now I'm opening the doors.
Uh-huh.
I'm an empty vessel.
Yes. yeah. Like, look, if you have anything you'd like to say to her, give her a hug. Just, yeah. So you're an empty vessel now. So you're open. So you're open to receiving now.
I'm open to receiving now. I'm going out still a little bit, and I'm looking people in their eyes. Because I have a bad habit. I can be in a room full of people, and I can be in my own world.
No. Yeah, I see. I haven't seen that before.
Yes.
Yeah.
I used to do that when we worked out, and you would be like, Liz.
She be in the zone.
Liz.
She be over there. Yeah, it was real tragic.
So I'm trying to be more connected now and come out of my head. That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of
I
work.
posted about a week ago, like the work you do on yourself.
Yeah.
That is the hardest work.
It is. And the funny thing is, we work so hard on trying to change people and tell people what's wrong with them that we never see ourselves. We always have that mirror facing toward the person that we have issues with, but we never turn that mirror right back around to see what's going on with me.
Right.
So Kiki, how do you handle life's problems? You're a mother, you're a wife, you got a lot of stuff going on, working the business and helping me grow everything. How do you handle the daily stresses of life? How do you work that stuff out?
Definitely through prayer.
Uh-huh.
Prayer.
Cause we go through some dumb stuff with people all the time.
Real dumb stuff.
Right.
Dumb, stupid, and crazy.
Dumb, stupid. Jesus, you talking about this yesterday. But yeah. But anyway, so how do you get through all that? And how do you compartmentalize stuff, or do you, between family stuff, business stuff, your author stuff? How do you handle all of that?
Well, the biggest part, I've always said, I have to hold on to my hope and I have to hold on to my faith. No matter how bad, because things have been really bad at times.
Right.
And I said, if I let go, even if it's just a thin thread, if I let go of that thread of hope, then I have nothing left.
Right.
So I've always said, even if I'm holding on with the tiniest piece,
right,
I can't let that last part go.
Right.
I've got to focus on the better. My aunt used to tell me it's going to get greater later.
Yeah.
It's going to pass.
That's true.
And so I always try to focus on the overall, what's going to happen after this moment.
Right.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Why am I working hard?
You
and
always have to go back to the why.
Always got to. And I'm like, where am I trying to go? What am I trying to accomplish? And who am I doing it for?
So do you always see the end result in what you want to do, no matter if it's family, no matter if it's business, no matter if it's with your books, the end result, you always know where you want to be?
Yes, absolutely. And that's what keeps me focused. That's what keeps me motivated. That's what keeps me going.
So how did you get to that point? How did you get to that space to where, because a lot of people don't think like that. A lot of people are like, oh, wow, woe is me. Why me? Let me pull the cover. Let me pull these blinds. Liz, that used to be you. Let me pull these blinds. Let me pull these blinds down. Yeah, Liz used to be like that.
And I wonder how he knows that.
Yeah, I know her. That's my girl. Look, when I tell you, and I always tell people, look, you always got to have a strong and tight circle of people who you love. And these are mine, these are two of mine. And I know them. Like, I know them know them. Like, see, you see successful women, and you see diamonds, you know what I'm saying? But I knew them as cold. But how did you get to that place? How did you get to that place?
I guess, and I can't quote the scripture per se, but you know how it said God is the same yesterday, today, and forever.
Yeah.
And I still use that principle in my life because I'm like, that other stuff,
Yeah.
I came through it.
Yeah.
It passed.
Is it kind of like a point? Is it kind of like a point of reference
Absolutely.
to where you look at your worst stuff and you're like,
I made it through that. So if he did it before, he'll do it again. He's the same God.
same God.
So the same way he worked it out before,
Uh-huh.
he gonna work it out now. And then not only that, as he's done in the past, it gets greater. So it's like, for instance, when I lost my car, that was so devastating. I had never experienced that in my whole life.
Right.
But then within months, I got something greater.
Right.
And then months after that,
Then
I got something even greater.
Right.
So it's like, okay, I can't focus on what seems lost
Yeah.
because everything is always improvement. I mean, to be transparent, you mentioned yesterday I used to be a first lady.
Yeah.
And the hardest thing for me was no longer being in that position because of the people.
Why is that? And do people get caught up in titles and roles versus themselves?
It wasn't, for me, it wasn't the role and the title,
Uh-huh.
but it was the responsibility because, you know, I love hard.
Right.
And whether they were older than me and the mother of the church or if they were the newest born baby,
Uh-huh.
they were mine.
Right.
I looked at them as they were mine. They were my family. They were my love. And so I loved them hard. And my concern was, what's going to happen to them because of the way everything
But you never
worked out.
thought once, but what's going to happen to
Me.
Right.
Exactly. And
Sometimes you have to shift that
Yeah.
thinking because
Exactly.
everybody will, and it is weird because people will always put other people ahead
Exactly.
of themselves who wouldn't do it for them.
Mhm.
You would
That's
break your back for people who wouldn't even lift a finger to help you.
And I'm still that way.
Oh.
I'm still that. I'm so bad about that.
Really?
I am so bad. Like she's talking about accepting stuff. I'm still not there.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, if you give me something, I'm gonna find 10 ways
Mm-hmm.
to compensate for that. You
Right.
know, nobody's gonna just, I'm gonna work for it, I'm gonna find something, I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna reimburse in some way. You give me a bottle of hair oil, I'm gonna give you 3 books. You know?
Right. Do you ever feel guilty about being successful? And do you think that might be a way of you basically saying, okay, in a sense, I've gotten this, so let me give you this. So
Right.
to balance stuff out versus you just kind of like receiving, kind of like what Liz was talking about, just receiving and being cool versus receiving, now let me distribute.
Right, right. I don't know, I've always felt like I'm responsible for everybody.
Mm.
Like even now, you know, in the house that we pick,
Uh-huh.
it's gotta be able to, if this one has to come, if this one, is,
Oh,
you know,
man.
everything.
Thank you. Say it one more time.
Oh, no, man.
No.
You can't do it.
No, you can't. And I'm going to tell you why. Because again, you got to let people grow up.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, because if your 10-year, 15, 20-year plan is for everybody to come back home or have a place to
That's
stay,
right.
guess what's going to happen? Because everything that you focus on ends up happening.
Yeah.
So if you're setting up places for people in your home, to your children to come back home at 30, 35, then guess what? That means they're not going to have successful relationships because they back at home with you. But it's because of a place that you've already set up for that.
But I even look at like my parents and stuff though. You know, I'm like, I always feel like if I don't do it, no one will.
No,
Yeah.
that's not your responsibility.
That's how you do it. You, and look, and it may be selfish, but I'm learning.
Go ahead.
You plan for your prosperity and
Yeah.
success.
Yes.
And if,
And
then you move then.
Right.
Right.
You don't plan for that.
But see, this is the thing though, and that's why I always tell people, this is why you have to be rich.
Right. So
Because-
that if something happens,
Boom.
you can take care of them.
But not bring them back in.
And
You can
your-
help them from afar so they still can progress as people versus, oh, that didn't work out. Bring your butt back home. I got a place, but no. No, because they still have to develop and grow as people. because I have family members who are in their 30s and 40s and even in their 50s still staying at home.
Oh, no.
That's the truth. But that's what you're setting up for when you create these rooms, just in case, and these people are old and they didn't know.
Let me tell you an example. My daughter is 19. I'm already telling her, when your 4 years are up,
Yeah,
you have nowhere to go.
Oh, dang.
yeah,
But I'm doing that
yeah.
because I had to go back home.
Mhm.
But my dad didn't build a house where I could go back home. We had to fit in where he was.
Right.
So we got on our feet. He was like, you better find your spot. And I learned from that. He didn't turn us away, but he didn't make it comfortable.
He didn't make it comfortable.
So you could stay.
Yeah.
By the time I got ready to go, he wanted me to stay. Can you please stay? No. Dad, you want me on my own. So I'm teaching her. Like, I don't, of course, if anything happens, but I want her to be successful.
Right.
So when her 4 years are up, even though she's planning on master's, PhD, that's all well and good.
Yeah.
That's your.
Yeah.
My investment ends when we walk down and get this bachelor's degree.
Yeah. That's the
Your
payoff.
room.
Right.
Yeah.
The house probably will be rented, and
Yep.
we'll give me a nice loft downtown. She said, "Okay, Mom." It
You,
won't be
you
a
gotta
room for
you
her.
gotta plan for you gotta plan for
Me.
you.
Right.
My
Right.
plan for her is to support her in her plan.
Right.
That does
And,
not include coming home.
and that's why money is so important, because we always like, money ain't everything. Yes it is. Air money. Because I heard the greatest quote the other day, and it was talking about how being broke is the most selfish thing you can do, because you can't help anybody but you. Yeah, you can't help anybody broke. How many times have you been in a situation where stuff has happened and it required some money, but you didn't have money to give? Versus, had you had business and, you know, did what you're supposed to do, you can be like, okay, cool. Shoot, I'll just write this off. But that's why I always talk about wealth all the time. It's so important. It's so important.
I think people get confused with, oh, you worshiping money. No.
Uh-uh.
But people that don't have it, of course they think like that.
Of course.
But all the things you can do if you have it.
Yeah. They always say money can't buy you love, but it sure can buy you some freedom. And it can buy you some experiences. Have you ever seen people who couldn't get an experience because they didn't have money?
That was my story.
Yeah.
I can't travel, I can't do that.
I can't. And how crippling is that for you to actually physically say, I can't do something because of something that's basically the result of what I did or didn't do?
And you know, a lot of times I do that to myself even now. Because different things that I would like to do, but if this one has a bill due, and I'm like, I got you.
Yeah.
You know, so then, of course, I'm always taking it to do, you know, you and I talked about, you like, where you at in that? And I was like, well, I took care of this, and that, so that's gone.
Right.
You know, so then that puts me in a position of not being able to do things that I desire, or even do stuff big, still looking for discounts.
But let me show you how crazy that is. Let me show you how crazy that is. This is like me doing all the work here, doing work here, work, and then I get money. Boom, I get money that I've worked hours and days for.
Yeah.
You know, it's like somebody like me would just be like, boom, I'm done. I'm good. But what you do is you get a whole bunch of stuff. You get a whole bunch of stuff. So you work, you accumulate a whole bunch of stuff, and you're like, man, I'm doing good. You know what? I'll set this to the side and then tap me on my shoulder. You're indicative of your kids. So what you do is you give to your kids and then pass that to Liz.
Thank you.
And then, and again, they had work for that.
Right.
And then you tap the shoulder again, it's your mama, you know, and you, I gotta help her. Boom. And then tap again, tap again, and then maybe, you know, your hubby, you know, something happened with the car or something.
Right.
You just, boom, and then
look at his hands.
Then look at my hands. Look at my hands. And then it gets worse because tap on my shoulder again. Now I have nothing to give to anybody else, but furthermore, I have nothing for myself. And and these hands are doing all the work.
Right.
Yeah.
And I got all your problems.
Yeah, everybody got
Your blessings.
Liz got all valuable lesson that these hands have worked hours, days, and years for. So what we're going to encourage y'all to do, become more selfish. Stop handing over things that you've worked for, things that you've earned just because people feel entitled to your stuff. But the thing that you have to understand is those hands didn't do anything. But these produce. But if you're not careful, what's going to end up happening? If you're not careful, and I've seen this happen a whole bunch of times, you'll do all this work, and because you didn't handle those gifts and you gave those gifts away, when you reach over to God, He ain't gonna have nothing to give you.
What did you do with what I gave you before?
Right.
But I gave.
Right. But God is like, but it wasn't meant for you to give. It was meant for you to store and produce even greater stuff. They're not going to produce.
Right, that's true.
That stuff that was given to you was meant for you to produce greater things because of the visions that you have here to produce greater stuff. That's just a means to an end. That's to further your career, further your artistic vision with your books, and to grow and expand your empire versus giving it to people who just gonna piss it away.
And I'm not giving it back.
Right. And there's no 1st or 15th with those folks. I get back on the 1st, I get back, look, give me about 2 weeks. No, because you have to understand, people, for better or worse, if they have your last name, they feel entitled to your stuff, no matter if it's your mama, your daddy, your kids, your uncles, your aunts, your cousins, your nieces, your nephews. They all feel entitled because they've been conditioned that way.
And you can recondition them.
Yeah.
You can.
By saying what?
No.
It's a process. You set boundaries. I'm not saying if you set boundaries, if in your mind you feel like I just have to, there's an amount. Once that amount is reached, there's no more.
Right.
I'm sorry. Let's figure out a way to help you, but not with my gifts. Not
You
with
know what?
My pack, my store.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get you some aid, and you say no.
Uh-huh.
No is a complete statement, and you don't have to explain it.
Yeah, because like even with my sister, when my sister comes to me about stuff, I be like, okay, you told me the problem, but what's the answer?
Right.
Me giving you stuff is not the answer. I need for you to find the answer. What's the correct answer that's gonna get you out of the same stuff you put yourself into? Because I have a mantra that says, if I didn't create the stress, I'm not gonna clean up your mess. Right. If I didn't create it, I'm not gonna be a part of it. You know, if I wasn't part of the issue, I'm not. The greatest thing I can do is kind of like, teaching a man how to fish. How to say, teach a man how to fish. He'll eat for give a man fish. He'll eat for a day. Teach a man how to fish. He'll eat for a lifetime. And then yeah, and honestly, that's what we're looking at. Like with this, we're looking at what you're looking at, and we talk about this all the time. We're looking at generational wealth. 2 generations down, not just enough for me to get to be 70, 80 years old, and I have enough to be buried in a hole.
Right.
No, I need my picture to be up on somebody's wall, somebody's mansion with the light on, with me posing like this, and you're posing. 2 generations down, you know who I am.
Yes.
Think about it. Do you know who your great-great-great-granddaddy is? Don't know his name. They ain't never seen the picture. That's what we're striving for. You gotta have a greater vision for your life, but it's gonna require you to hold on to your gifts and grow your gifts versus giving your gifts away to people who just ain't gonna do nothing with it. Let's face it. So if God is trusting you with the vision here and gives you the gifts here, you got to take it to the 3rd step, which is basically materializing that stuff. It's kind of like, what is it? The story of the talents, to where, one buried, one buried, multiplied it, the second one buried, and then let me tell the story right. One multiplied the talents, the second one multiplied, and then the third one basically buried it because they were afraid that somebody was gonna take my stuff, and then basically was dismissed. You want to multiply your stuff, but you can't multiply your stuff by always giving it to somebody else who don't know how to use it. And that's real. So, any parting words you'd like to give to the people on how to handle life, how to get through stress?
Parting words. When you are in the storm, let me tell you something. There is a secret place in the storm. We always so, oh my God, woe is me. There is a place in the storm. Get quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Listen. Be still. Because you're going to get out of it. Come on.
Right.
We wouldn't be here if we didn't get out of it. Everybody goes through it.
Right.
But while you in it, for this storm, get quiet.
Yeah.
Be still. Learn the lesson. You won't have that storm again.
Amen. That's good stuff. Parting words, my dear.
I would say if you will step back and look at it from a distance, you will see it's not as big as you thought it was.
Right.
Because sometimes when you're right in the middle of something, you can't see around it, you can't see above it, you can't see under it. But when you step back a little bit, then you can see the full scope of what it really is. And know that the same way all the other stuff passed, this will too. It's just a moment.
Beautiful.
It's just a moment. So just step back and know that it's going to pass.
And my parting words is, is this: attack your stuff. Stop running away from stuff that you're bigger and greater than. A lot of stuff you'll run away from. And always remember, you can't fight or destroy anything when you're running away from it. Sometimes you just have to stop running and you have to face your demon, you have to face your giant and just square up with your adversary, the things that you've been procrastinating on, the things that you're fearful of. And I always remember the acronym for fear is fear, or the false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. In other words, it's a lot bigger in your mind than how it really is. But it grows and it expands as you continue to run away from it. Think about it. All the stuff that you have not handled, as an adult, things that you should have handled as a younger adult or even a child, it has now grown. Things that happened 10, 15, 20 years ago, if you were to make it a person, is a full-grown adult now. You've let that thing grow into a human being, a grown, tax-paying human being, because you didn't destroy it when it was younger. You've letting it grow. So start facing your stuff. Knock your giant down. Defeat your stuff. Kill it. Behead it. Do whatever you need to do. But stop letting that thing grow. So that's what I want to leave you with. Thank you to my beautiful women. And guess what? We'll be back next week. Thank you for hanging out with us on the couch. And that's how we roll. We go. Love y'all.